Yo, 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 what's up? Welcome to another episode of Around the Reef. We're up to episode 20. Can you believe it? Let's go. I just want to say thank you to all the people that have been watching these videos. I really appreciate it. I got a really important message that I want to give today. It was in the news. You might have saw it, but my homie Snoop Dogg, Snoop Dogg made a post that he is quitting smoking weed. The most famous weed smoker of all time, him and Bob Marley, uh, the most famous weed smoker of all time, decided to just say no. And it's really interesting. Snoop Dogg to me is like an ambassador. He's an ambassador of marijuana. I mean, he's like the most, like I said, the most famous pot smoker of all time. And he just said, he's done. Like how famous of a pot smoker, like if you made a actual post on social media about you like stop smoking weed, uh, like only Snoop Dogg could do that. I mean, anybody else that would be weird, but for Snoop, it's like it makes sense because it's such like a part of his image, really. But yeah, no, he's quitting smoking weed. Good for him. I think he smoked almost every day for like 40 years, so it's about time. But yeah, man, good for him. I have a theory that he probably went to a doctor, and the doctor probably told him like, "Hey, Snoop, if you want to live any longer, you probably should stop smoking as much as he does. I mean, he smokes like a chimney. So, um, you got to quit. If you want to live, you got to quit." And it'd be interested. I'm just interested to see like why he quit. Like I said, I think a doctor told him. Who knows though? Um, it kind of begs the question: is smoking weed bad for you? Well, I am no doctor, but in my opinion, yes, I think so. I think it makes you stupid. I think it ruins your memory. It makes it harder for you to talk and actually make sense and string together longer thoughts together. You know, a lot of people, they're in denial and they're like, oh, like smoking isn't bad for you, or like I'm productive when I smoke. It's like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe for some people, maybe that is true. But I would just say for the vast majority of people, when they smoke weed, they just sit on their couch and order a pizza. So, I mean, I think generally it's probably good to start getting off it if you do that. Um, you know, Addictions are hard to quit. It's really hard to look at your own life and look and see like what are the things that are holding me back in life, and really get to the root of like why maybe your life isn't what you want it to be. Well, how can I turn it around? Well, it starts with fill in the blank, and then for if you fix that thing, then this thing's going to change, and then that thing's going to change, and pretty soon you're turning your life around, really. And it's never too late to turn your life around, and it's never too late to kick an addiction if you have one. Smoking pot's a bad one. That's a bad one. I think if you're real honest with yourself, you could be accomplishing a lot more in life if you just quit weed, or if you drink too much. Maybe you need to look at yourself and be like, if I'm not doing any favors to my body by drinking as much as I do, or feeling like every time I have to drink till I'm passed out on the floor. I mean, I see it so many times. Like guys, they don't know how to stop drinking. When they drink, they got to go all out, and they pay for it the next day. But it never occurs to them the next day, like, man, like if I didn't just go on that bender last night, I'd feel a lot better. And so, anyway, with when it comes to drugs and alcohol and any other vice that might be holding you back in life, um, I think it starts with you kind of admitting to yourself, like, I should probably quit this. And then you got to get into the execution of it. Like, all right, how am I going to quit? So, like, for me, a big one, like, I like to snack at night. So, one way I get around snacking at night is I just don't have any snacks in my apartment. I don't have snacks because I know I'm going to eat them if they're in my place. I'm going to eat it. So, same with drinking. Maybe if you struggle with alcoholism, maybe don't have like always have like a bunch of beer at your in your refrigerator or something. If you smoke pot all day, maybe you should get rid of your pot, or your smoking device. Literally, don't give yourself a chance to relapse. And then it becomes easier. The first day that you say no is the hardest. The first day after you decide to quit's the hardest. The second day is the second hardest. Third day, the third hardest. And it's just like it's almost like a muscle that you build up. Like every day you say no, saying no becomes a little bit easier the next day. And then pretty soon, like you're a couple months in and you're like, man, I just don't even have that strong of an urge to smoke weed or drink. And then you maybe if you do, you remember why you wanted to quit in the first place. Like if you smoke weed, you're like, I remember the headaches that I used to wake up with, and that shit sucked. So I don't want to do that again. And same with alcohol. It's like I remember it just ruins the next day, basically. And I think you can live a more productive and overall fuller and better life when you are saying no to drugs and alcohol. It's like really popularized in the younger, like in college kids and out of college. Like you want to drink and you want to do drugs and all this, and maybe you have friends that peer pressure you into doing drugs you're not comfortable with, or maybe groups that like to drink a little bit more than you. It's bad. You have to have the maturity to just like to say no. I mean, because you only have one body, really. You have one body, you have one life, and you can easily ruin it by running with the wrong crowds. So, hey, be like Snoop and just, it's never too late to turn your life around. For real. So you get my drift on that. But so let me shift gears and wrap this thing up. There's a huge football game that's going on. It's going on Saturday. It's Oregon State versus Washington, and I don't know if you guys have been following the news about the Pac-12 and all the schools that are leaving the conference, but basically what happened is that all the other schools other than Oregon State and Washington State decided to join other conferences. And they basically left Oregon State and Washington State to go die, basically. And it's really unfair. Those schools are great schools. They definitely deserve to be in the same conference. Like Oregon State and Oregon not being in the same conference is weird. And Washington State and Washington not being in the same conference is weird. And the fact that they're all not in the same conference playing each other like normal is weird. And it's basically all about TV ratings. Assholes on TV basically hijacked college football, like Colin Cowherd. It's all about him. It's all about the ratings. So now the kids like me that actually went to the schools, the rivalry just ends. The 100-year rivalry of Oregon State and Oregon just ends because of guys like Colin Cowherd. So anyways, I'll spare you that story. I'll save it for another episode of Around the Reef. But, if you have a heart, and you want to stick up for the little guy, just one time, the little guy has a chance, you'll root for Oregon State tomorrow when we play Washington on Saturday when we play Washington, everybody is a Beaver on Saturday. So it's on ABC. I think the game's like at 4 or something like that. So if you're looking for something to do and you want to root for the little guy, root for Oregon State. So I'll catch you guys on another episode of Around the Reef tomorrow. Bye.
Under the sea, darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me.